Welcome to Daggers and Shadow Daddies.
We're your hosts, Ryan and Adriana.
Strap in and strap on.
Warning, this podcast contains explicit content. It's all vibes and no facts.
Prepare to be spoiled.
Wait, no, these are spoiler-free episodes.
We might still spoil you. How many nipples should a man have?
6.
In his eyes.
Ooh, 2, and only mine.
Well, men?
No.
Men should only see Adri's nipples. I mean, sure, this is a lot for me to take, but I think your wives are going to have trouble. And or girlfriends. We just need to take pictures of your nipples so they can paint pasties of those, and then it goes over top of their nipples, and it remains true. Every man only sees Adri's nipples, but only I get to see Adri's boob. Do you consider your boob sexual or your nipple? You see a pair of boobs without a nipple? Like, you know what I mean? They happen. It occurs.
No.
Oh. I'm not saying it reduces femininity. I don't think nipples are feminine. I just think.
I think a boob's a boob.
I think Confucius said something about that once, or was it Aristotle?
That was a close one.
Oh yeah, we did 6 chapters again.
Because no one in the right mind would ever end on chapter 36.
I am one shitty moment from writing Rebecca Yarros a very stern letter.
We might as well just kind of start a tiny bit on chapter 37. 36 ends with Riddick being stabbed.
No, it doesn't. That's the thing. You believe it ends with Riddick being stabbed.
And that was our chapter 5. We need to end on this. I didn't know any better. You were the one who corrected and said, we cannot continue. But I was like, no, but we have to. We have to learn this. I get to the excerpt, which is a letter from Violet to Riorson and telling her how thankful she is to have Riddick. And I paused it.
It's the beginning of chapter 37. That's how it starts off.
I paused.
It's like, we fucking love Riddick. Thank God he's here. I was so angry.
I paused. I cried. I was sad. And you're just like, play it. And I'm like, I can't bring myself to listen to this scene. I couldn't do it.
I needed to know if I had to find another book this afternoon or what was happening. But it was like Rebecca Yarros could hear me. And I was like, oh, there's only 2 people you can't kill off. We keep getting baited.
But that's good. But they didn't die.
That's not true. There's more than 2.
And we were so dramatic. Me especially. No, you were right up there.
I feel like I was probably equally dramatic.
You were just as dramatic as me, but expressing it differently. You were like, I'm ready to throw this book. You actually did move the book.
I did not throw it.
You did not throw?
I gently set it down 7 feet from where you were. And then I said, I'll be right back. I need to walk around. I need to go do karate or something. I don't fucking know. I was really wound up.
No, that was after we at least got through.
Oh, well, you're right.
The bulk of it.
I wanted to come in here and record it right away so we could do more. And you were like, no, fuck it. We can listen to one more chapter. We need to listen to one more. It's asking us to. And you were not wrong.
And we just sat there, just like chapter 10, in silence, stunned. I'm wiping tears away of like, this is it. And now I have to sit and suffer listening to Riddick's slow, painful death.
I was at the point where I was like, oh, this is it. I have to let Adri finish this book because I was not going to.
On my own.
Yeah, I was not going to finish this book. It would have been a real salty thing. And it has brought to light how tenuous our relationship with this book series and podcast is.
If the books upset us, we're done with the book?
Well, I mean, we read a book that we won't even review on a podcast or mention. Because it turned out it was a shitty book, right?
Yeah.
I think we owe that to smaller people. Like if Rebecca Yarros suddenly just dumps a steamy hot one in our hands, I think we could discuss it. But if she takes something that I love and then shits on top of that thing already that exists, like she shits in a pizza instead of handing me a box with shit in it, I'm done. I can't do it. That's the end of this series for me.
That doesn't make it a bad book. That makes it such a great book that you could feel that much emotion.
I don't know.
That's why
people have read Mein Kampf and identified with it, and I wouldn't exactly say it's because it's a great book.
So I was going a different direction, but somehow not that far off. I was thinking of our favorite movie,
Jojo Rabbit.
Jojo Rabbit. We freaking love it because it can make you laugh and cry and feel all of these emotions.
Yeah, I'm not looking for that in this book.
You just want laughs.
Yeah.
And Riddick does this in this moment. He's like, God damn it, I hate sewing. As he's like punching the guy.
Got 4 uniforms and 1 flight jacket, dipshit. Why would you attack 2 people who are trained killers? You're a goddamn cook in a peaceful place.
And him just downplaying it to Violet just validated my feelings that Violet was feeling the same way.
Of course she was. We all were. We were meant to feel the way we were feeling, and that's why I'm a little angry at Rebecca Yarros right now. You don't need to do this to me, Rebecca.
But most people would keep reading.
No, they wouldn't. Most people would do exactly what we did. They'd be like, no, and they'd be mad. Some people would be even angrier than we were, I think. I bet some people would have drove their car into a flock of children crossing the street just to feel something again. Like, there are some people that were probably very upset. I want to hear people's takes. Did you people quit reading after this moment and take a moment, or did you just keep reading like a goddamn psychopath?
You were on the verge to DNF it because you were so convinced it was coming and that this isn't something you want to listen to.
Yeah, no, I was going to let you continue listening. Basically what happened is we're listening and we're reading it at the same time. And I went ahead and skimmed the first part of the next page. And that's the only reason that I continued listening. Otherwise, I was going to be like, well, Adri, you listen to the first part here and you tell me if I should keep reading this or if he's dead.
And because you did that is why you moved the book away from us.
Yeah, I realized that the person who's reading the audiobook reads, out loud reading is so much slower than you can do in your head. And I keep getting ahead of where they're reading. And then I feel like she's just reiterating what I've already read, and it's starting to annoy me. And I'm like, no, I need to quit reading it.
And we could speed it up. I just try to take notes.
You're doing great.
No. There was a whole thing from Audible about the speed in which to read things, which is stupid. I fully support listening to
2 times speed is ideal. If you're reading it at the same time, 2 times speed is perfect.
I can't do 2 times because
you're taking notes.
I sometimes zone out. And I would be rewinding significantly more.
But if you're reading it at the same time, is what I mean.
Oh, that would be better.
2.5 somewhere in there would be great if you're physically reading at the same time you're listening. But trying to physically read at, what do we have it at? 1.2?
Oh, it is. It's at 1.2.
Yeah, her tone seems slightly higher. So I'm like, okay, we're moving a little bit faster. I don't know. I can't do them both. Although I like that I get to see how Rick is spelled, and seeing how things are spelled, honestly, clears up so much pronunciation-wise if you mix the 2 things together. Without the person reading it to me, I probably wouldn't pronounce most of those things correctly, though.
No.
And to be fair, I would not take the time to figure out how to pronounce them if I was reading it in my head. I would just give them a placeholder word and run from there.
And I think that's really common. We even skipped over one of the other things that I thought was going to be this episode's conversation. His mom.
Hold on, there's 3 big things that happened in this section.
We knew Garrick was going to survive.
What are you talking about? I'm going way back to where we first came back into this book. She fucking wielded lightning in a place with no magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. How did she do it? Is it the temple?
I don't know. I don't believe the temple has a lot of magic floating around. Nobody else can feel the flow of magic there.
How would she do it? Maybe
she's using Andarna's power as still being able to access the gift Terran provided her. Maybe she's using Andarna's power to power the signet she got from Terran.
Maybe. She also said it could have been a gift from one of the gods.
Yeah. My atheism probably jumps in on this and goes, probably not.
I don't know how.
I like where she looks at the statue of the god too, and there's little eyeballs. Little golden eyes. It's because Andarna's up there chameleoned her way up in that bad boy.
Andarna was furious during that scene. And I think we also learned that all of the isles are based off of different gods.
Mm-hmm. Including the continent.
Correct. And that is the queen of the gods.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's start this bad boy from 37.
Chapter 32.
What? Oh, yeah. You're right. Let's not start at chapter 37. We did that already.
It starts with an excerpt about it takes a lot of indigo from the plants there in order to dye the clothes, and why that may be. Is there something wrong with the Isles, or is there something wrong with the continent?
I think I know. I have a theory.
Share it. I have one, but I don't know.
What's your theory? Let's go with yours first.
That The color is a sign of the magic in these different locations, and it's trying to find balance, and it's all going to the continent to find balance because of the venom.
I love where you're at with this. We haven't so far heard that there are venom anywhere on the Isles.
No. Because there are venom on the continent, it requires a balance for how much they are taking.
It's creating a vacuum.
Yeah.
I like that. That's sort of what I was going with. Real similar, where it's like, oh, the magic just gets eaten up by something in the Isles is soaking up all the magic, is what I took it as. So maybe when they find this 7th breed of dragon, wherever their little den's at, is just siphoning the magic from the Isles slowly, not enough to kill everything off, just enough to draw it in to keep them replenished.
Oh, you think their den is pulling from the Isles?
I think so. I could be wrong.
And the Isles are so old that, and this den has been gone for so long, it's normal to not have magic on those Isles?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if it's like 600 years later, it would seem normal.
Oh. Do you think this is finally the Isle that has Andarna?
Every Isle they've been on has had Andarna. I'm so sorry.
I meant the den. Is this finally the one that they just landed on, the one that Andarna's on, where everybody is welcoming them?
You mean the what are they called again? What's her type of dragon?
Irids?
Irids. The Irids may be there, or they may be less surprised for the Irids to have been there. This place still seems to have magic, right? They can
Correct.
feel magic there. The people are not afraid of the dragons. There's gobs and gobs of people, so clearly there's enough food and supplies to support this many people. I'm also dubious of why these people are so friendly.
They all know that they're coming, and there was a mention of an amphitheater.
Yeah.
I wonder if they are prepared for a battle, and all the people are like, we paid for our tickets weeks ago. It's time.
Or it's going to be like a sermon. Like, have you heard of our Lord and Savior, whatever God this place is about?
Ooh, is this the one for luck?
This might be, does it start with a Z?
I think it is one with a Z.
Cool. So maybe they're just like really lucky. And they're like, we still have magic. Why? We don't know. Lucky, I guess.
We just say thank you.
Yeah, it's that easy. And the king's like trying to prep everybody. Like, hey, just so you know, the ragtag group of Navarians is coming around and they're going to try to bully you into helping them out.
News spreads fast. What goes faster than a dragon? How is
To be fair, they're taking a long time everywhere they go. I think a carrier pigeon probably could have carried the news.
Think of the time from Corden to Deverelli for Halden to go by ship.
Yeah, I don't think they're using ships. They could use messenger pigeons.
But they're not. They're using ships when Violet sends a letter to Rhiannon about Riddick that I was devastated over and thought it was foreshadowing of his fucking death. It went by ship.
Did it?
Wait, there's no ports.
Did the letter ever get sent?
Well, I don't know if it ever got sent, but
because we'd have to trust Xaden's mom.
Yeah, because she gave the letters to his mom.
I don't know. I don't know if we trust the mail carrier system in this whole place. Any of these places. We don't trust anybody.
We got as far as one excerpt in chapter 32. This is where we're back in the Dune area. Which island? Yeah, I think we're in the Dune one.
Yeah, we're still in Dune.
And Darna is furious. Violet can feel it in her bones, and she's asking Andarna to kind of keep it together so she can fight. Xaden chose daggers as a weapon of choice, obvious, in order to help with Violet. Andarna is on the statue. Violet gets stabbed or broken ribs?
She's broken ribs.
Okay.
Dain is stabbed. Xaden is cut. Everybody's beat up. Dain did not get his moment to shine in this.
He didn't.
They're like, well, we looked over and Dain was already done. God damn.
Violet's a badass. I wasn't expecting it to be like wrestling matches, 3 little rings for each of them.
Kumite.
I thought it was going to be like a free-for-all. And they
Battle Royale style?
Yeah.
Yeah, I also thought it would be more of like a 3-on-3, let's see how our teamwork and stuff goes. No, it's just 3 individual fights.
And it was best 2 out of 3. The queen offers to remove armor, and Violet's like, no. And I was
My armor's better than yours.
No, we're not doing that. Dane's unconscious. Violet has the queen in her hold, so she's done better than the boys here so far.
Yeah, Xaden's about to be eliminated also.
She saves Xaden, and she is fucking fast. Not only does she pull the dagger that she's holding, this queen, whatever, and she throws it, gets it in the shoulder, grabs another one, and it's back to where she needed to be, all before anything changes.
Well, also lightning strikes simultaneously and scares the fuck out of the queen. Violet's like, yield, and she's like, I will never yield to you. And then lightning fucking strikes, and Violet's like, yield. I said, motherfucker, you need to yield. And she's like, okay, all right, I'm done. I'm done. Everybody's done. You win. And then she's a bitch.
She is, but I found it fascinating how badass the queen is. Oh. Andarna is pissed. Her scales are shifting quickly after this fight.
Different shades of black, which I thought was so
cool. Okay. I just kind of saw her as like sequins ruffling as they're just like flipping. Ripple. Yeah, over and over again.
Which is super cool.
Like in cartoons where you have a chameleon that gets knocked in the head and they have it just rotating through the colors.
Oh, that happens in real life to chameleons.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, you boop them real hard and they go...
You are ridiculous. The queen is badass. Violet caused the lightning. I think both of us don't know what it landed on, like how that happened.
Yeah, we've theorized.
The queen says there are no dragons in centuries. And when you think about how Andarna can hide, what if the dragons are just hiding?
Yeah, I agree. That's why everybody's like, we've never seen them. And I don't know if, I think it was said by one of the characters, like, you fucking wouldn't.
Yeah. So why trust them?
Well, I don't think anybody trusts anybody.
I guess, yeah. And the queen points out that Violet destroyed something that stood there for centuries.
500 years or something.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a statue, too.
Even after Violet says it wasn't me, she's like, well, weird, because that's been here forever.
Yeah, and then Violet, but it isn't just the queen that assumes that. Xaden is like, how the fuck? Or maybe it was Sawyer. Or not Sawyer.
All of them. Dain?
Yeah, but who's the one that brings it up to her? Is it Aaric?
Mira.
Okay. Yeah, I know somebody in the room is just like, how the fuck did you do that? Oh, yeah, and then when she goes back and sees Mira, Mira's like, did you fucking wield in there? And she's like, no.
There was just a spontaneous storm that showed up just above us and struck lightning exactly when I needed it.
Yeah, she is just sometimes a little wall of density.
But if you were in a fight, you wouldn't know that this storm...
It didn't occur anywhere else. If the only place lightning strikes is kind of near you, we could assume that you've got something to do with it. Or was it T?
Was it Auric?
No, I don't think Auric has a lightning signet.
Not that he has a lightning signet. The rain started when they first got there.
Then maybe it's T. I think it's more likely to be T than Auric.
I thought it was a weather thing, like her mom's signet.
Ooh, that would be cool too.
That you can't control where the lightning goes, but you can create this storm out of nowhere. But that wouldn't explain...
How the fuck would he wield there?
Yeah, how does somebody wield without...
That's why I think it's T. I think T is still following her around and making sure she's okay.
Kind of like
a guardian asshole.
Puss in Boots with that death wolf following around all the time in the background.
Yeah. Yeah, only T is like incentivizing Violet to come train with her.
Okay. Do you think they're going to train together?
Yeah, I think at some point Violet is going to get trained by T.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. It would be such a waste if she didn't. T's command over her power is fucking unreal. If Violet doesn't need to turn Venom, she should learn whatever she can from T. There's no other lightning wielder for you to learn from.
I guess if you can train without being tempted, because I feel like T would constantly be, just pull from the source, like, just do it.
Yeah, and if I'm Violet, I'd be like, who gives a fuck? I've got plenty of magic there in that big tank. It would be Terran right there behind me.
What if T thinks the only way to get as good as she is by pulling from the source?
I guess we're going to find out when I don't pull from the source and see how much better I get. It's that easy.
I guess, yeah.
That's like saying the only way to get better at sports is by taking PEDs. That's true. You can get incredible gains from doing that. But there are people that compete, not in like bodybuilding professionally without them, but there are people that train really hard without the use of those substances and still see gains.
I think that's a really good analogy. Kept me in check there.
I'm here to help.
At the end of chapter 32, they talk about a deal. She offers them refuge in exchange for what? Just for beating them?
Yeah, that's kind of it.
And if you want allyship, offer up dragons.
She wants 12 dragon eggs. 2 of each breed, completely ignoring the whole thing Violet said about there being a 7th breed.
Did they get to that conversation already?
I think she opened up with, we're looking for these things. We need them to beat up the venom.
She's like, you haven't found them yet, but you do know where these ones are.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Chapter 33 has a little excerpt about dragons being more loyal to their den than a rider. They clarify they want feather tails, 2 eggs, 12 eggs, 2 of each breed. Zagale is furious.
She mama bears this.
Furious.
And Xaden gives another funny line. Because she's about to cook the queen, and Xaden's like, that's bad for diplomatic relations. Can you just cook a guard instead?
Like, you can do what you want, just maybe over there. And Violet, she's not a villain, but she's more...
She's getting her villain arc going.
Yeah, if you're on her side, if you're on her good side, things are great. You're on her bad side. It was just ice cold. She's like, if you want a dragon, you can show up July 15th and cross that parapet.
And she's like, merely by asking us to do this, you've already proven that you're not going to be worthy. She's like, well, I'm a queen, so surely they'll find me worthy. And Aryx's like, fuck off. My brother's a piece of shit, and he's going to be king. And it was like, wow, these guys don't care. They are not good at diplomatic relations. But they are kind of coming in just goon squadding their way through all of these places, which is neat.
Yeah, they're young, but so they're not really going with the diplomatic approach, but I think that's what's necessary because each of these locations are prepared for just killing them.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the point, right? Is if the diplomatic approach would have worked, it probably would have already been done.
That's fair. They go back. Traeger and Kat have been banging because Traeger has a hickey on his neck.
Yeah.
Violet.
And Violet, liked it. She was like, oh, how sweet. And I'm like, God damn, he's still got work in the morning, Kat. I'm going to need you to calm down.
And Mira asked questions about Violet. Mira's not convinced that she did not wield.
Mira's the smart one now.
And she's called the wise one later.
Yeah, and she should be. She does seem to be wise. But it is also brought up to us, I think 2, maybe 3 times in this book that wisdom and knowledge are separate things. Violet has a lot of knowledge and Mira has wisdom.
Wisdom is earned, and that's part of the argument later. Violet tells Mira about how she saw someone with hair just like hers, asked Mira, when did this happen? When did my hair start looking like this? She's like, it's been like that forever. It grew in that way. And Violet thinks back on the dedication and that it's been banned for 200 years. What do you think dedication is?
It's them being dedicated to Dune, to a singular god, pledging fealty.
Oh, so probably dedicating your fealty to a single god has been banned for 200 some years.
Yeah, or maybe that is the specific term for them dedicating themselves to Dune. That's the only context in which we've heard it used so far. But
yeah. The next style is a community of knowledge and peace. They get to the next one and it has pale vegetation, even more dull colors than the last place. Andarna is uneasy. The Isles... Oh, I already asked this question. If the Isles are pale because of trying to find balance in magic. Traeger is the one who's taking care of everyone's stitches. And it sounds like Xaden's is infected.
Yeah, it probably wasn't a clean knife in the Kumite.
No, it was probably you. Well,
a used knife, I bet. Somebody give me a fresh one. I'm about to cut up this Navarian.
This is the same knife used on Dain and Violet after Xaden. They're just passing it around. Gross.
It's a dagger.
Right.
Just messing with you.
Why does Mira argue this and how to take care of the wounds?
She argues with whom?
I thought she was arguing about what needs to be done for Xaden's wound.
Oh, because it's clearly infected. She's like, you need to be taking care of this shit. And Xaden's like, no, I need to be involved.
But Violet or Traeger come up with an idea and Mira disagreed with them.
Yeah, I don't remember the specifics of what that was about.
And Drake starts flirting with Mira.
Yeah, so they disagree. I thought Mira and Drake were disagreeing on the way they were going to go to the next kingdom, not the treatment of the wound.
That makes sense, because I thought they were next fight talking about fighting moves.
Yeah, so they were talking about a strategy to enter the next isle. And he's like, oh, we do this. And she's like, no, we don't. It's dumb. And he's like, no, this is like the move. Like, I know this move. And she's like, I know you know this move because my job has been to beat your ass. And if you recall, I've been doing it. And he's like, all right, point taken.
At some point, Kat gets involved and she's like, I'm not telling Mira what to do. Do you know what her right hook's like? He's like, yeah, I do.
And he gets a little fear boner.
Then they're royalty of some kind. They had some term. They're all pale
The
clothed.
tribunal or whatever they're called.
Yes.
Not tribunal. They were something like that, though.
They're in pale clothes and purple eyes. Xaden's mom, Talia.
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 34 is an excerpt of Violet's dad writing that he likes this isle, but their artifice terrifies him.
Mm-hmm.
I had to look that up. It means clever deception, I think. So it's no surprise of what happened in this chapter. I thought some type of deception was going to be happening, but no death. I guess that's true. That did happen.
I wouldn't say no death.
Not at the isle. Nobody died.
Nobody died?
Maybe the cook.
Seems like a lot of blood loss for a guy that's not a fighter.
Xaden's mom has the same gold-flecked eyes. She wants to talk to him, offers dinner so Xaden can meet his family. Taryn calls his mom a life giver.
Yeah, which is fucking frosty.
He's pissed. And then seeing his girlfriend pissed also, and she's just pacing on the beaches, pacing back and forth. And she can't talk to Xaden.
Or Taryn.
No. Xaden finds the vials that Violet had for him, and that was sad.
I thought it was good. I think he respected it.
What do you think of this whole conversation where he says that he would draw? He understands the addiction of power in order to hide all these feelings that he's having.
No, I think it all makes sense. I liked that they were having the conversation, and I liked that he respected her for being ready to help him in this way. It would be like if you had the ability to just spring an intervention on somebody. That's what it feels like. Is he's like, yep, I need an intervention. It's gonna happen at some point. You're gonna have to squirt some Narcan at me and put me in that room.
He admits 2 times. Also, that power is not just addicting, but gives the freedom to not feel. And he says it again at the end, and Violet's like, oh my God, this is bad.
Is there a song this reminds you of? Comfortably Numb?
I don't know.
I think Pink Floyd.
Let's look this one up.
Is it Pink Floyd? Yeah, that's what I thought. Long intro.
This song is creepy.
Yeah, but it sort of takes you through drug addiction.
Creepy.
In that same sense, though, right?
Yeah. Well, I have another question when we get there. Hopefully I remember it.
Shifted gears? My bad.
That is unsettling. Well, this whole scene is sad.
It was a good scene. There's not secrets between them. Immediately, it came up. They talked it through. They're on the same page again.
I was worried that Violet was going to try to push Xaden to go meet his mom by saying this is your last opportunity, really letting her own relationship with her mom cloud her advice, and her recognizing it was so mature.
Yeah.
I know I was not like that at that age.
I'm not like that now. Look how often I tell you, I'm like, you should really call your dad. Like, I'm still bad at that.
And I'm surprised that he ended up saying yes to go to dinner. I think he did want those 10 minutes.
I think he saw it as it's the only way for them to move forward with what Andarna and Violet are looking for.
Yeah.
I think it was more of a sacrifice on his part. I don't think he came across as he had any desire. And I think when he saw that he had secret siblings.
Oh my God.
Bum, 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 bum.
That's right. He did have siblings. You even made some jokes about, oh, what? She went and had more kids afterwards?
No, yeah, we brought up secret siblings, and then I felt back. So I was like, oh, yeah, well, I'm a dummy who had secret siblings. Nope, turns out it happens.
It's so sad.
Or is it awesome? He didn't meet him at his dad's funeral. He got to meet him under not happier circumstances. Still shitty. It comes across as though he's not going to be developing a deep relationship with these boys, though.
I love how Sigale almost crushed one by accident. Maybe not accident. She stepped her foot back. She's like, God damn it, I missed.
Oops.
There's a tiny detail where Violet suggests to Taryn to tell Sigale to go hunt. And he's like, how about you do it? And you should probably get close to the ocean so you can cool off after she torches you.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I got that out in one breath.
You did. It was probably one of my other favorite Taryn moments. Every time Taryn talks, it's a favorite moment.
I love that he's talking so much in this.
Yes. And every little moment laced with sarcasm. It's just incredible.
That all happens. CL leaves. The oldest looks older than 10.
He appears to be 11, which makes sense.
So his mom...
She got back and immediately got knocked up.
the way that she defends it later, it sounds like she had a love, did a deal for 10 years, tried taking Xaden, and went back to her true love.
Yeah. Sounds like your true love's kind of a piece of shit, too. Sounds like she has bad taste in men.
Oh.
Right?
That's really sad.
Interestingly enough, from what we heard about the excerpt from Riorson, however you're supposed to say his name, whatever.
Love is best only for children.
Only for your kids. It came off like he'd clearly been hurt before. Maybe he got this deal with Xaden's mom, and then he grew to love her, and she was like, nope, I don't love you. I have somebody else that I love. I'd like to take the son and take him out. And he's like, hold on. This contract was only so I could have an heir. If you don't want to hang out, fuck off. I'm keeping the boy.
I didn't even think about how his dad has been going to these islands just like Violet's.
Everybody's dad went to the islands.
What if their dads were traveling together?
Okay, that would be awesome, but also weird. So, like, you think our kids are ever going to fuck? Like, nah, they're 2 years apart. Where would they ever meet?
They didn't have kids yet.
Sure they did.
Wait, no,
Violet's
this doesn't
dad.
make sense.
Violet's dad had kids right up, like, he was last touring the islands, I guess, by himself.
Maybe.
Finn was dead by then.
I'm under the impression that her dad is traveling the Isles. Oh yeah, it was for research of the Feathertails and all of this going on. But then she also questions the timeline of things, that he was traveling with her mom while her mom was pregnant and there was some type of issue during the pregnancy.
You ever think about the fact that Violet's dad was alive while Xaden was in Besgaiath?
No.
He died 3 years ago. That means Xaden was through his first year by the time her dad died.
No.
What?
Yes?
Yes. Her dad died 3 years ago.
Right. Xaden.
This is Xaden's 4th year, technically, since he would have entered Besgaiath.
Brennan and Xaden's dad died the same day. It was the not reunification day. What do they call it? They gave it a silly name to downplay the...
Yeah. Yeah, I think it probably was Unification Day.
I think it's reunification day. They died, and then, yeah, it was after that.
2 years after that, her dad dies. A year later, Xaden goes into the quadrant, right?
I didn't even think about how... I don't know. Well, this is a lot to take in, because was her dad alive when Lilith made the deal with Xaden?
No, I don't believe so. Maybe. Oh, maybe. Yeah? Because Xaden would have been marked. Part of the deal with Xaden was... No. She called in that favor just before Violet came into the Riders Quadrant. Because initially the deal was, I get a favor and all of you get to be in the Riders Quadrant.
And that was made right after she lost Brennan, but not after she lost her husband.
It was when Xaden would have become old enough to be eligible to get in to join Besgaiath.
There's something fishy about...
I'm just saying the fact that there's a good chance our man of many names could have known
Colonel
Mr.
Daxon, the amount of excerpts that we've been reading about her dad
Violet's dad is everywhere.
We need to go back to Fourth Wing and Iron Flame and look at all the excerpts. There's so many Colonel Daxon things. And
what's weird is Violet doesn't seem aware of it. That was her dad's maiden name.
Until this moment. Yeah, dad's maiden name. I think we were just talking about how they could take the mother's name.
Yeah.
Wait, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let me catch us up to this moment.
Okay.
Chapter 34 ends with Xaden would exchange for getting rid of that feeling. Andarna is sent to follow the boys, and Violet offers Talia dried aran mint. I think that's what's put in their drinks later?
Yes. So technically it's supposed to be just mint or something, but it turns out it's aran mint or whatever it is. It's the poisonous one.
Chapter 35, they begin dinner. It's super awkward. The Isles are all up to date on continent news. They interrogate them about marriage, and Xaden's like, draw up the papers. And they're like, yeah, how long? 3 years? 5 years?
4 years? What are we doing here? And he's like, fuck it, make it a lifetime. And they're like, oh, wow, he's really onto something now. And he's like, yeah, and Sorengale spelled with 2 R's. You could be Violet Riorson, or I guess we could take your last name. We could just be Sorengale's, even though mine's with the title. And I think Riddick or Garrick, one of them's like, oh, you could hyphenate. Or you could combine them. Where he's like, you could be
Ryergale?
Yeah, Ryan Gale or Sorensen. Yeah. And I was like, oh, God, it's so funny. Must have been Riddick. It was pretty funny.
And in that moment, it was validating. I'm like, oh, yeah, we can take other people's names. It's not about the man. It's not about the woman.
Oh, that's honestly, I took it all as their group is so tight-knit that while they're here just pissing off this other group of more or less royal people, they're just like, yeah, fuck you guys. We're all on the same page.
And his mom gets defensive. I think this is when they have this whole moment just waiting. This is 13 years of pent-up anger that Xaden has. And he unleashes it on his mother after she's like, it's just a short amount of time. It's just a contract. It's not a big deal. He's like, you could have stayed.
You could have been my mom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It was a big deal.
Like, who leaves their son?
She does.
And she said they would have done to me what they did to Mari's husband.
Mm-hmm.
So
Which means they secretly murdered them. Violet addresses this in Fourth Wing when Liam is like, she's like, well, you still had your mother, right? And he's like,
no, father. His mom was the high-ranking person.
Okay, regardless, she's like, you still had your other parent. And he's like, no, they got murdered the same day. She's like, no, I read through it. The name wasn't there. He's like, I watched. I know what was up.
But she left she left 7 years before that whole event even happened, when the parents were killed.
Yeah, to be fair, she didn't know when it was going to happen. I don't think the rebellion lasted 2 weeks.
Right. So she knew it was eventually going to happen. Her contract is up. And she did exactly what you were joking about. I thought it was a joke.
Jokes? No. 10th birthday, the cake was there, the candles are lit, and she pieced the fuck out before he got a bite.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's terrible.
He's like, you left that night on my birthday.
Mm-hmm. That's how contracts work. She didn't want to breach.
So sad.
Well, and then she does the typical thing that your parent does when you haven't seen them in a lot of years, where they're like, I missed you so much. And they like love bomb the fuck out of you. And they make you feel like, oh, you're so impressive. Oh, you turned out great. I knew you would. And you're like, fuck you. You don't get any credit. You were a piece of shit and you weren't there.
You bringing up the AA Rick reminded me of the Lloyd.
Lloyd. It's Lloyd. No, it isn't. Lloyd. I named you.
I would know. I named you.
You ruined my life. How could I have ruined your life? I wasn't even there. It's so great. Or it would be like the Austin Powers song, Daddy Wasn't There.
Is this another sad song? But it's Austin Powers. It's got to be funny, right?
Yeah, just YouTube this real quick.
What is it?
Daddy Wasn't There. I think it's a Goldmember song. Austin Powers Goldmember, not the band Goldmember.
That is a funny, sad song.
Yeah, I thought I'd try to bring it up a little. I mean, there are other ones. Mommy wasn't there. Anyway, so he's got some mommy issues. She does not have silver hair. She's got black hair. Violet has the opposite of that. Still mommy issues.
Everything that I could have guessed about his mom was completely wrong. Everything. I predicted none of this.
The only thing I predicted was her schedule.
Her escape.
And then secret siblings.
Correct. No, that was mine, and you denied it, and then you admitted it. I was asking. Yeah, I said, do you think that he has secret siblings? Like a sibling after she left? You're like, that's insane. Why would you do something like that?
I thought you meant like before. No, you're right. Maybe after. I may have just been playing devil's advocate and fucking with you on that. Well, then you did predict something.
You did.
You did turn me into a believer if it helped any.
They argue about wisdom. Mira lays it all out. And then she turns to Violet, and Violet shares what she thinks of the city. And they're kind of insulted by this. Violet calls it the continent, and they say something about her not calling it by its name. I've never once questioned it not having a name.
Yeah. To be fair, we weren't given a lot of information like the world existed far beyond Navarre and Boromir and the Barrens prior.
Yeah. But it would be like calling where we live the state.
Well, no, not entirely. It would be like calling North America the continent. And we call it the continental United States when we're excluding Alaska and Hawaii.
But if we go somewhere else and we refer back to where we're from as the state.
Norde America.
But the continent is called Amaralis for Amari, Queen of the Gods.
Yeah, a lot of female gods in this.
Oh, I guess I didn't pay attention. I assumed Dune and Sanal.
Dune's female.
Oh, you're right. Yeah,
I don't
the
know
statue.
about Sanal. Maybe they're all women. God is a woman.
Maybe.
If God exists. If women exist.
Arik then speaks up and he defends.
Not going to give me that one.
Nope.
Women do exist.
Arik speaks up and he defends Violet with her place in this mission and saying this is all up to Violet.
Yeah, honestly, Arik becomes a really likable character. I mean, he was always kind of likable, but in this, he's killing it lately.
He's doing awesome. Violet realizes that Talia knew for weeks because they were getting the chocolate that is incredibly rare. Violet speaks to Xaden in his head. Did you catch this?
That wasn't reading it, so it came off as though she was just talking out loud.
She says something's in the cake, but in her head. It's in italics. And he drops the fork and looks at her and she shakes her head like, don't eat it. And Imogen then does the same, but Violet never outwardly says it.
Yeah, what an expensive way to fuck with these people. Why not put it in the regular food?
And as we discussed at the very beginning, chapter 35 ends with Garrick isn't breathing. He devoured like 3/4 of the cake before they even took one bite.
Yes, so we think Garrick may potentially die in this. We kind of know he's not going to, but initially it's like, he's not breathing, and they're like, he's breathing, but not like well. Very shallow breaths, and Xaden is CPR in his ass.
Yeah.
And then, when he's not CPRing, who takes over?
Dain?
No.
Who?
DK.
Oh, I didn't catch that. I was so focused on Violet coming up with the plan. I was like, Violet, you got to figure this out. And then Xaden keeps looking at her. I'm like, yeah, I'm also looking at you over here. Please solve this.
Help us, please. She does the right thing. Going into the kitchen was the right move.
But before she goes into the kitchen, she plays her cards of you and your family are going to be dying anyways. So give us an antidote. I'll give you an antidote.
I thought that she was going to start off with, okay, we told you the dragons don't die when we do. Just so you know, I've currently got a dragon out there with your kids, and if you don't give me an immediate cure to this guy, I will have your kids dead before you are, so you get to hear it. That's what I would have gone with. But that's just being extra mean.
I think she played the first hand, and I liked it. Perfectly. Chapter 36, the dragons are on their way. Violet poisoned the drinks. They already took the antidote, is what I got from this before they showed up to dinner. Taryn tells her to stop thinking like Ferris, and that's when she thinks of going to the cook. Her and Riddick go to the cook. She finds him in the pantry. She's freaking out. Well, no, she's not freaking out. I'm freaking out.
We're freaking out.
We're freaking out. She throws 2 daggers in his forearms. Badass. And then she pins his hand to the door, and Riddick is stabbed.
No, he's not. A knife is thrown, and it sticks into a countertop through his jacket. I'm having trouble picturing the angles this is at to make this true. Does that make sense?
If Riddick is pinned to the table, right? Like it looks like he was stabbed through his abdomen, and it's in his jacket. If Violet was to his side, if he was stabbed on the left side, she's to his right.
But the guy threw the knife. She like moved out of the way sideways. The knife had to be facing her.
There's no logic.
Okay.
I had no logic. I was pausing and
I was angry, to be fair, in the moment. I was just mad. I didn't care how it happened. It was an issue for me. In hindsight, I'm like, wait a minute. I'm trying to figure this room out. Complicated. I don't understand.
I didn't either.
I'm going to re-listen to the scene. I'm going to draw it out on graph paper.
And like any sane person, you continue to chapter 37. There is an excerpt of a letter from Violet to Rhiannon. She is thankful to have Riddick. Paused. I couldn't take it anymore. I'm like, nope, this is it. She made us think it was going to be Garrick. Nope, it's Riddick.
I could hear bagpipes when she started this, and I was like, no.
So we panicked. I cried. Couldn't bring myself to continue. We finally did, and we were so dramatic. The knife missed, cut his leathers. He's pissed because he hates sewing, and he's punching this man in the face. She figures out what poisoned him, and she uses the books and sends Dain to get figs or limes. I think she sends him to get figs.
Because they're upstairs in their bedroom.
Yes. She points out how unwise it was to assume that their war will not become theirs, and points out venom will even drain from humans.
Yeah. Yeah, again, Violet is a ice cold, badass in this. I love it so much. And she does eventually bring the kids into it.
She does. Garrick wakes. Xaden is unhinged.
Yeah.
What do you think of that whole scene?
Well, I think Xaden's about to do some real nonsense.
Do you think he drained some from Ferris before Violet intervened?
No. I don't think he quite got there, but I think he was close. It's also worth noting Xaden's mom didn't poison him. She was unaware of what the whole thing was.
Yeah, the way that Ferris turned to her and said, I did what
you told me to do, which is test them.
Yeah.
But it comes off as though she was like, I think you owe it to them to at least test them to see if you would work with them. And he took it as, I'm going to try to kill him. And she just got bad choice in dudes.
Well, the first one wasn't her choice.
It was still her choice to enter the contract. She wasn't forced into that. She just tried selling her son on that whole idea too.
True. I have the quote, ironic, we discovered your ignorance and not mine.
Yeah.
I was very lost during this when she's talking. I think in the end what I got for the upper hand, obviously the children, but also everybody witnessed it. And that was his way of saying, everybody witnessed it, so me killing you isn't a big deal. And she's like, yeah, but everybody witnessed it, that I beat you.
He's refusing to admit that he was beaten, which is insane. Also, I don't necessarily think it's ironic. It would be ironic if they'd witnessed one of them being much more aware than the other versus the ignorance, because I would say they were both pretty ignorant to what was going on.
How was Violet being ignorant? She had 2 game plans, 3 of them.
She developed them very quickly. Her thing of having the boys be watched is great because she was suspicious. She was not aware of what their plan was, literally until they were about to eat the cake.
What about number 2, where she poisoned their drinks?
That's what I'm saying is I think they were equally ignorant as to what was going on, right? Maybe I'm viewing ignorance differently.
Maybe, because I'm just not seeing where Violet was ignorant. She
was not aware of what was... No, she did not come in prepared. If she was knowledgeable on what was being done, she would have already had the antidote and this and that. This is not me shitting on Violet. I'm saying ignorance is a lack of knowledge on a subject. On a given topic, that is what ignorance is. Violet does not have knowledge of these things. Violet gains a knowledge of what's going on and is able to adapt quickly to it. But I wouldn't say that that's the same as not being ignorant of it. She didn't know what the solution was or what the poison was that was used or that anything was going to be poisoned. The solution for their poisoning happened to be in the next room.
I am following what you're saying, and we have gotten into this before. You are thinking of the literal definition of ignorance versus knowledge.
I'm not a huge Alanis Morissette fan. I do understand the part of the song of Isn't It Ironic is the fact that there's no great examples of irony in the song, and that makes it ironic. But it gets too complicated for me, and that's sort of how this felt. There's irony here, but the irony is that Violet thinks that she wasn't ignorant to what was going on. You're both ignorant. That's the ironic thing, and you're both pretending to be not ignorant.
I disagree with how I use the word ignorant.
How are you defining it?
I think being ignorant in this scenario would have been Violet coming to dinner thinking that nothing bad was going to happen and that they were going to sit and discuss matters.
Okay. You know what? That's fair, actually.
Because that's what the king did. He showed up to dinner being ignorant that they would plan ahead. He wasn't prepared for them to be poisoning their drinks, and that was ignorant.
No, that's fair. I'm not disagreeing with you. If we take it on that line, I'm going to give it to you. Not because I am somehow the arbiter of what ignorance is, but you make a valid, compelling argument.
Okay. She pulls out 4 vials and she pours them into a glass each, and it gets like all murky and muddy.
Mm-hmm.
Points out that his staff will see that she outsmarted him. Ferris loves his sons, and Andarna is watching him. Asher Daxton is her father.
Yeah.
Shocking. I kind of wondered this, though. And he took Lilith's name? Or
they come up with a pseudonym. Not a pseudonym. Yeah.
Yep. Just a new last name.
Not a pseudonym, though. What is that called?
I guess if he was married to Lilith by the time that he was doing these travels... Wait a minute.
What do they call that?
We were already kind of told his last name was Daxton. Violet was bringing up the grandmas, and she's like, Grandma Daxton?
I'd never heard that part. Remember I asked what the grandma's names were, and we were like, I didn't hear it, and we just moved on.
I think that's when we were supposed to learn it. I think Violet brings up, oh my gosh, that grandma?
Yeah, it makes sense. So how did you know which one was the dad's mom?
She said dad's mom. She said something about that.
Oh, okay. Good. I was saying, I missed a lot of the grandma talk.
I didn't even pick up that. Oh, wow.
No, that's fair. Either way, we got to enjoy it a second time.
Yeah,
Look at us
we
go.
did. They left with 2 aisles to go. Everyone is exhausted. The griffins are struggling. Taryn knows the griffins' names. That seemed odd to me that he would take time to learn their names.
He's a superior being. He heard it once in passing, and it's locked away now.
And he makes a comment about Kat finding someone to fall behind with.
Isn't that cute?
It was like an insult and cute.
It was, well, that's Taryn.
And this is where we left off at, for end of chapter 37, the humans are waving. The location is more colorful than the rest. And it sounds like they're flying to an amphitheater. People are cheering and excited, and there's magic.
Really cool, isn't it? Do you picture, like, off the coast of Australia, like the Sydney Amphitheater?
Oh, no, I didn't picture anything. I was going to ask you what you thought of. Thanks.
That's
I
probably
needed something.
it.
But it sounds like it's massive.
Like the Sydney Opera House, yeah.
I guess I pictured Taryn couldn't fit in there.
Oh, no. Google that.
I don't know the difference in 12 feet and 24 feet, other than one's bigger than the other.
We've been through this so many times.
I can't imagine.
Peak of our house is like 30 feet.
Okay.
From
that's
outside.
That's how big Taryn is?
He's a little taller than that, I guess.
So Taryn could fit in there with Sigale and all of them?
Yes, I believe he could.
I don't even think he went in there yet. They were like going to some bridge, and he's like, it looks more like an amphitheater.
Yeah, I don't know. Seems like a good place to have a press conference.
Do you have any predictions on what's coming up next?
Not really, but they can feel magic there. Magic is in the air. Everybody's good. It's going to seem like too good of a place to not leave. That could be an issue. People seem friendly. There's magic. If I'm them, I don't want to go.
I think if they get into some type of altercation, Xaden may pull.
Do you know whose favorite god is Zenal in the group?
Riddick's.
Yes. I look for this to be a place where Riddick really thrives.
Good, because we almost lost him.
Fuck off. I can't handle that.
On the bright side, I don't think he's going to be killed off if he has this moment.
He's not going to be killed off anyway.
Right.
Thank you. God damn. Exactly.
Nobody is dying, but I heard one person is.
Several people can die. What do you mean you heard somebody is? Don't tell me. Never mind. I'm avoiding everything. Ah, fuck. It's a different book for you.
No, I didn't hear who. I didn't hear a dragon or person. So
I don't want to know.
Death.
I don't want to know. Yeah, in the beginning it says there's animal death.
There's already been multiple wyvern and dragons dying.
Some venom. They count.
Yeah.
Are venom people?
I keep using the word it for venom.
Wow.
I don't think that's right.
No, I don't think so.
I think they.
Sure. They're people. They're not.
Especially after we got to know T a little bit. She seems nice.
Would you consider Xaden an it or a he?
No.
He's a venom.
All right.
My little initiate boy.
I love you.
I love you.
You're my bestie.
You're my bestie. I want 5 more chapters. It was a great time. We had fun. Now get out and go live your life.
No, wait. No. Thank you all for listening. We appreciate and love you all. Please follow us here, TikTok or Instagram at Yarros.Podcast.
And then go live your life.
Bye.
Bye. Get out. We're done. This was Daggers and Shadow Daddies. Now it's my time. Toodaloo. It was fun for us. I hope it was fun for you. But that's all we've got. Goodbye. Come back in a few days. We love you.